In this video, we will see how to edit a sport activity into the Garmin Fenix 8, the Enduro 3, and the Tactix 8. It's all the very same thing, so I'm gonna do that video with the Tactix 8. To reach an activity, the first thing you need to do is to press on that upper right button and then go into activities. You can use the touchscreen if you'd like. Personally, I'm a button guy, so I'm using only the button. Here, what we have are my favorite activities. So I can select one if I want to walk. For example, I can select it and I'm ready to start my walk activity. If you want to use another activity, you can choose from the favorite over here, but you can also go down. Let's say, for example, you do for the only time of the year a swim. You go into swimming and you can select, I don't know, open water swim. There we go. You can start your activity. It says that it's not, whatever. Or you can also, if it's something that you do more often, you can go here on edit and select add. Then you can choose again the same swim, open water, then it will be added up there. I need to exit. Open water swim, right there. And you can switch its position by pressing on the pen and place it higher if you'd like. Just like that. We've seen something down there. I think we will need to add. There was that multisport activity. This is not something that I use, but inside you can see that we can find triathlon, duathlon, brick, swim run, or custom. Basically, you will choose the activity you will want to set in and you will be stuck to follow that order. I know most of the time that's how it happened, but the way I do it is that I'll just go out of that menu, press and hold the menu button, go up into watch settings, go up again into system and into shortcuts. As you can see on hold start, which is that button, I did pick change sport. There's a lot of shortcuts you can select here. I did put change sport onto that one. So for example, if I start a walk, where's my walk? Right there. I start my activity, and then after a moment, I'd like to swim. I'll press and hold that button, go down to swim, open water. Funny, eject water before the activity, but whatever. I've just switched my activity. There we go. I'm gonna discard that one. Discard. All right. Thank you for taking all that water out. But now I want to see how to edit a sport activity. So let's say that I select just restart. Okay, we're on the home screen. Select this button, then activities. Then I'm going into walk. I could start my activity just with that button right now, but I want to see what is under here. So we've got training. You can set a target for distance and time, distance and pace, distance only. It will give you an alert when you are done. Workout library, something you can set into the Garmin Connect app. Never tried this yet. Training calendar, same thing. You can race yourself, so you can set from history, something, a walk or a run you did previously. You select it and you try to do better. You're gonna have a kind of buddy that do your trail, and it will tell you how much ahead or behind you are from your coast. Navigate. From here you can select places you would like to go, save location, explore nearby. You could explore cities, bike shop, convenience, restroom, water. You can look for all of those things and it will take you to that place. Because there's a map into that watch, it will really guide you on the map on which street to turn and all those kind of things. Walk settings. That's where we're going to spend the most of the time. There's a lot of things over here, but let's start with the very first one. Oh, and before we go there, I have to say that you can do those changes on the phone. On the Garmin Connect app, when you select your watch, you can go down to activities right here. And from there, you can select your activity. And you will have access to the very same things we will see on the watch. I just think it go way better when you do it on the watch. So, data screens. That's a lot. So by default over here, there is two screens. There is this one with all my data, and there's this one with the map. I can also add one here with custom data, which is like the first one we saw, HR Zone Go, a virtual partner, which is a bit like the one we saw a bit earlier. To challenge yourself, you will have a ghost on which you can set a target. You can have the clock, the compass, the elevation, InReach. InReach? Is there an InReach? I think it's more like a InReach. Yeah, pair InReach. InReach is a device that can call rescue on satellite. Anyway, you can add a lot of stuff. Let's see those data fields. So if I had a new one, custom data, we have a big window here with one information, and with those two buttons, we can navigate inside here to get more fields or more display. I personally like to have this one when I'm walking because it's not that fast and I can easily see, but set the one that you want. I'm gonna go with one like this for now, just because the data are bigger. At the end, it invites you to select the information you want to have into each field. I don't like to do it just like that, so for now I'm just gonna set timer everywhere to just get rid of that. All right, and when you go back on the screen like this, you hit the pen and you can change the data fields just like that. So now what is blinking is what we are modifying. If I use those two buttons, I can pass from an information to another, and when I select it, I'm now able to change what's inside. First thing we see is the fields. There's many fields. There's the timer fields, distance fields, pace, speed, heart rate, cadence, temperature, elevation, compass, navigation, workout, other, graphical, and charts. And all of those fields have a lot of data. That's what we're gonna see right now. So into timer, we've got the timer, we've got the lap time, the last lap time, so the previous one, the average lap time, the elapsed time, the overall ahead behind, that is for your coast, and the estimated finish time, so your average speed based on the distance you need to make, so what will be your finish time. If you have a target, this what will be displayed. The elapsed time, let's see what is the difference between the elapsed time and the lap time. Let's do a little drawing. So let's say you start your timer at 1 o'clock and then at 1:30 you pause, and then at 2 o'clock you resume. At 2 o'clock the timer will be this time, because when you pause, it pauses the timer. So the timer will be 30 minutes. But the elapsed time doesn't care if you pause. So the elapsed time will be 1 hour. So that's it for the timer field. Distance fields. So the distance you traveled, the lap distance, so the distance since the beginning of the lap, the previous lap distance, and that's it. Pace fields, so your pace, pace on the chart, pace with no chart, pace of the lap, pace of the previous lap, and that's it. Next one, speed fields. Speed, speed with a chart, speed without chart. Basically, it's the very same thing as the previous one. Heart rate fields. That's one is funny. So, you've got your heart rate. You've got your heart rate on a gauge. So this is your zone, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You've got your heart rate on a chart, so there will be a drawing of your heart rate. There is this one with zone ratio. I think this one will kind of explain on which zone you pass the more time, but I never use it. It's just a guess. Average heart rate zone, just in numbers without the graphic. Aerobic training effect, anaerobic training effect, training gauge, so both of those information on the same graph. Heart rate max and heart rate reserve. That's interesting. Let's do another drawing. So there is the heart rate percentage, and there's the heart rate reserve percentage. So let's say that your maximum heart rate is 200. It's just an example. You go over that, you die. If your heart rate is at 100, then your heart rate percentage is at 50%. But your reserve doesn't work like that. Let's say that your minimum heart rate is 50. You go below 50, you die. You go over 200, you die. So when you are at 100, we're going to calculate it on 150, the difference between 50 and 200. This means that 100, you are at 33%. Then we've got the same thing with average, lap average, and all those kind of thing before time and zone. So the zone you are actually right now, how much time you spend time in. Next one, cadence field. So your cadence, average cadence, lap cadence, last lap cadence, cadence with a gauge. And just let me explain what is the difference between cadence, speed, and pace. So pace is the time you spend to make a distance. So basically the number of minutes it takes you to make a kilometer. While the speed is the distance you travel during a time. So the number of kilometer per hour. While the cadence, depending on the activity, for this one, walk, will be the number of step per minute. Temperature fields. Here we've got the temperature recorded by the watch, 24-hour maximum and minimum. Not sure if it's from the watch or for the forecast. Elevation fields. Interesting. Average ascent and average descent. Let's do another graph. So let's say you go for a hike. You start here, you climb a mountain. And this was 100 meters. And you did that distance into 10 minutes. Then your average ascent is 10 because you did 10 meters per minute on average. Then we've got maximum ascent and maximum descent. This, you see that little check over here. It's because on this little part over here you did 29 meters in the first minute, and then you made 80 in the rest. So because on this one you made 20 meters in a minute, this will be your maximum ascent for now on this activity. The maximum ascent you will have done into a minute. This is the maximum ascent and descent. Elevation, so your current elevation with a chart, total ascent. So at this moment on this graph, you are at 100, but now you go down of 50 meters, and then you go up of 25 meters. So now you have done 20, 80, which is 100, and you have done 25. So at this point, your total ascent is 125. And then you can have the total ascent and descent on the same graph. I usually use that one. You've got your lap ascent, so everything, the very same thing with lap. You've got minimum elevation and maximum elevation. This one is also interesting. This will not be 0 and 100 because when you started here, you were already at 500 meter. So 500 meter in this case is the minimum plus 100. So here you would be at 600 on maximum elevation. And even when you drop down here and go up here, that would remain 600 until you go over that. And then GPS elevation, so your elevation only based with the GPS. The glide ratio is, if I'm not wrong, the distance you need to travel to drop of 1 unit. So to drop of one meter, you need to travel 10 meters. Well, the glide ratio is 10. The grade is actually the grade of the hill you are on right now. And that's the tour for the elevation field. And we've got the compass field, on which we've got heading, GPS heading, and compass heading. The compass heading just work like that. You see, we've got a compass. You look in a direction and it tell you on which direction you go. That's the compass gauge and the compass heading. But what is the GPS heading? GPS heading work this way. So let's say we have north, south, west, and east. And you travel on the map, so the GPS record your trail just like that. But that's what you see at the end. You see the line, but the way it works is that at every second, the GPS record your position. It create a point on the map and it link those points with a line. And the GPS heading will use that line orientation to give you your orientation. So as you can see, as we travel over here, the orientation would change. So in that case, if we have the compass heading and the GPS heading, what is the heading? Well, it will be the best available. So if you are walking, so if you are moving on the map, for sure, this will be the GPS heading. That's the more precise one. But if you are stopped, you're not moving, you can't say in which direction you're going because you're not going anywhere. There, it will use the compass heading. So it's like a smart mode. Navigation field. This is linked to an objective. So when you're using navigation, you have an itinerary or you're pointing a point on the map, something. It will tell you the distance remaining, the estimated total distance, the velocity made good. Do not ask me to explain what this is. Absolutely, I have no idea. Bearing is the direction you need to go to reach that course. I think it will tell you if you're off course and on course. That depends on the situation. It's kind of hard to explicate just like that. ETA is the estimated time arrival, estimated time remaining, the name of your next waypoint, the distance to the next waypoint, the next fork. I think this is based on the Trail Fork app. Maybe there's a lot of things inside here. Next one. Workout fields. So you got your step duration, step time, step pace, step duration, step time, step pace. All right. Other fields. Total calories and active calories. Total calories is basically the number of calories you burn since the beginning of the activity. And the active calories is the calories that you only burn if you were not doing an activity. Does that make sense? Because you burn calories by doing nothing, just to remain alive. So active calories are the extra calories. Battery level of your watch, battery hours of your watch, GPS signal, number of laps, sunrise time, sunset time, solar intensity if you have a solar model, quantity of energy you get from solar, time of the day, number of steps, ambient pressure, barometric pressure, barometer chart, load, respiration rate. Graphical is exactly what we've seen on the other fields, and charts, exactly the same thing. So you got a collection of all the charts and all the graphics. Now you know what everything does into the data fields. So you can build the page that you want. What did I set for mine? On a walk, I did set my heart rate with the gauge, the distance I did travel, the time it take me, the average speed and the elevation, the number of steps, ascent, descents, and time. That's mine. I only use that and the map. That's it. Let's go back here. You can set alerts. If you want to add an alert for your heart rate, time, distance, calories. So if, for example, you say, I want to travel 5 kilometers and just give me an alert so I can stop because that was my objective. You can do that. You can set heart rate objective if you don't want to go below or above a certain heart rate. You can set this up over here. Power mode. If you want to be more precise, get more precise information, you can play with that over here. If you want to have an extended battery life, you can also play with that over here. Now it's on extended. I can go on normal, and it says it remained 35 hours for what I have here. What if I disable the heart rate, phone, and music? Got up to 69 hours. Max accuracy, I've got 19 hours. And you can create those mode also. If you'd like, if you go into the main menu and under the power modes, you can customize some. Low battery alert, you got a lot of option over here. You can lapse, auto lapse. By default, it's on. I set it to off, otherwise it create the beep every minute. I think it's annoying. But if you want it, you can leave it on, and you can set the distance to which you want to have those alerts. Metronome will create some beeps at every milliseconds you want, or seconds, so you can follow a cadence. You've got map settings, map layers, routing. If you have, it's kind of a heat map. I did not observe this one yet. Auto pause. If you stop walking and you want to have it auto pause, you can have it. I never use that. Climb Pro, is it that one? Yes. Climb Pro will automatically change page. So you can create yourself a hiking page. So if you are walking, you want to have something more about the distance, but as soon as you are hiking, you want to have a page about the elevation, your grade, and those kind of things. So if you reach a certain number of meters per minute in climbing, it can automatically change to a page. You can set this up over here. Performance self-evaluation. 3D speed, interesting one. 3D speeds and 3D distance. So let's say that this is a map of a totally perfect square of 1 kilometer. And you do that. You just cross it, and this is a very perfect line. So you did travel 1 kilometer on that map. But if we see that from another side, from face, because this was from up top, and it's also that 1 kilometer, same thing. And actually what you did was that you did climb, and you did climb of, let's say, 20 meters. We can say that this line that is also totally straight is not exactly 1 kilometers, because 1 kilometers is a straight line. So we would have to make a little calculation to know exactly what this is, but it's more than 1 kilometers. So the 3D distance will calculate this. Otherwise, you will have only traveled 1 kilometers and climbed 20 meters. With a 3D distance, that would increase a bit your distance. You've got auto scroll if you want to scroll automatically from all of your pages. Pack weight. All right, if you want to know how much you are packed, that's great. Broadcast heart rate. If you have a device that needs to get your heart rate, you can select it over here. Flashlight strobe. For example, that could be great for a running activity. For example, on status, I'll set to after sunset. So automatically after sunset, when I'm running, it will turn on the strobe of the flashlight over here. I'll leave that to off. I like to use to control it manually. Blitz, beacon, cadence. Sorry. Oh, that's the mode of the light. Let's go up there. Satellite. Here again, a bit extended. It's linked to the one up top because I did select one. But again, you can change that into the power mode. Touch. You want to set it on or off during that activity. Record temperature. Audio output. Connected device. Power save time. Power background color. Accent color. Rename. Restart default. What else do we have? Watch settings. So here we find the same information we've got into the menu of the watch, but you can adjust it. That's what I did at the beginning to increase the brightness. You can adjust all of that to that activity. So if, for example, here the brightness, alerts, gesture after sunset. If I want to have it into the activity, I set this up into the activity. But if I don't want to have it into the watch, for example, if I go out of the activity and go into the watch settings over here, find the very same thing, display and brightness, and I go on gesture, it's at off. So it's at off for the watch in general use. But when I go into the walk activity, over here, watch settings, display, gesture, it's on after sunset. It could be on forever, off forever, on after sunset, or don't change. Don't change will be the exact same thing as the general use of the watch. So you basically have all the settings of your watch for the activity if you want something very precise for that activity. It's all over here. Well, we've got the power manager over here. So we could change it here. Battery saver. Activity power mode. And could we create one? Yes, we can create a new one here, give it a name, and select what we want to enable. Heart rate, Bluetooth, phone connection, music connection, the satellite you want, you can edit it just right there. And now I think it's pretty much done the tour. When you are into the activity, then you can start it right there. It will calculate all of your things. And when you are done, you hit that button again. It stopped the activity. And there you can choose to resume the activity, save the activity, resume later. That will take you back to the home screen. You can resume by going back to the activity like that. You can create a lap, give you the itinerary to go back to start, recovery heart rate. I don't know what this one is. And discard the activity, which is what I'm going to do right now. So that does a tour of how to set up your sport activity on the Garmin Fenix 8 series. I hope this was helpful.